Hey guys, for 6.4, this section is kind of confusing. I'll do my best to explain, but feel free to ask any questions as you need. So basically, we're going to be simplifying radical signs, and something that we need to know is that a radical is simplified if all of the possible squares have been taken out. And I think it was this class, we kind of did some of this last semester. We're going to amp up the difficulty level now, though. So the first thing I kind of want you to know, I'm going to make a side note here. If you have the square root of x squared, we know that that is just x, right? What if you have x to the fourth? Well, remember, you can split up your radicals, or like what's underneath the radical sign, and I can recognize that this is the same thing as x squared times x squared. And the reason that's helpful is I can see that that is the square root of x squared times the square root of x squared, which simplifies down to just be x times x, or x squared. Right? Because you can split up radical signs, or split up what's being multiplied, and things that are being multiplied underneath a radical sign can be split up so that they each have their own radical sign and simplified from there. That was chapter, I think, 4. So how can I maybe not have to do all the middle work and get straight from the square root of x to the fourth to x squared? And the answer is you can just divide the exponent by the radicand. I'm sorry, not the radicand, by the index. What's the index? Ah, well, check out this chart over here. We have some cool vocabulary going on. So to look at this specific example here, this 4 divided by this 2 would have given me, oh no, I'm sorry, this 4 divided by the fact that a square root means that there should have been a 2 right here. 4 divided by 2 would have given you that 2 right there. Okay? So maybe let's try another real fast example. That would mean that the square root of x to the 8th, okay, if it's not written, then your index is always 2. So 8 divided by 2, this is x to the 4th. The square root of x to the 12th, that equals x to the 6th. Okay? Etc., etc., etc. By the way, if they, as a general rule, don't indicate the positive negative, if they just leave it blank, that means they want the positive. If they specify they want the negative, that means they want the negative. And if they give you the positive negative sign, they want you to indicate that a square root number can be positive or negative. So let's actually do an example of what we're going to see today. You are going to split up the pieces that are inside. So I have the square root of 36 and the square root of x to the 10th. Hey, those both look pretty easy because the square root of 36 is just 6. And as per my sidebar up there, we know that the square root of x to the 10th is the square root of, is x to the 5th. Don't forget we've got this fancy schmancy positive negative sign on the outside. So my final answer is the positive negative 6 times x to the 5th. So on 1b, I'm noticing that the 16 is applying to the entire set of parentheses. So that means this time I'm not going to be splitting it. Instead, I'm going to leave that together, divide my 16 by 2, since that would be my index there. So that's 8. Whoops, there's a negative sign. That's my answer. Okay? All right, let's try another. Since we can't have the square root of a negative number, oh, I went too far. Say we have the square root of x to the 6th. That would give us x cubed, which would be possible that a negative answer, or that a negative number would be a possible answer. So to show that we can only have positives that we answer, as our answers, we're going to use absolute value bars. Basically, anytime you end up with an odd exponent, it needs to go in absolute value bars. That's what you need to know. So let's check this out. We have, oh, almost the exact same one. This is 6 and y to the 6, so 6 divided by this 2 is y cubed. However, again, with the odd number, we're going to go ahead and slip this in absolute value bars. The reason that we didn't do that on 1A was because it had this positive negative sign, and this one does not, just so you, in case you were wondering what's the difference. Okay, 2B. First thing I notice is the fact that this is a 4th root, not a squared. Because initially I want to go, oh yeah, that's just 4. Oh, except this is the 4th root. If you need to use a calculator, the 4th root of 16 is not 4, it is 2. Now I'm just going to take 12 divided by this 4, x minus 3, and that would be a 3rd power. And then again, because I took an even exponent divided by an even index and I got an odd answer, that needs to go in absolute value bars. I think we'll do the word problem together. Okay, that's it for this one.